Hey guys, welcome to the Duty Free Rockstar Extravaganza. I'm Tony Lucca, coming to you from Heartland, Vermont. This is Jay Nash's home studio, one of my favorite places to make and record music. We've made a number of recordings here now. We've done a few concert window shows. It's familiar terrain at this point, and we're out doing some shows. And I figured I would take some time this afternoon to get to your questions. After having spent the last couple weeks in the studio back in Nashville. So, you guys gave me some great questions and I want to get to them. So, let's get started. Bernille always wanted to kick things off. She is curious, once you've chosen your list of songs, does that list ever change partway through the process, or is it pretty much set in stone from the beginning? Yeah, what is it? Song selection can be tricky, you know. A lot of times people will go in with more than they need, and they'll start recording on a bunch of songs, like say 15 to 20 different songs, and as they go, they kind of whittle it down to the ones they're feeling stronger and stronger about until they have the 10 or 12 that they're looking to hang on to and flesh all the way out. Sometimes though, when you're dealing with a budget, either a label's got a recording budget or you're independently funding your project, you're kind of working on a per track basis with the producer. Certainly with the mix engineer, and so you're kind of forced to be selective and decide how many songs, which songs at the onset, so that as you proceed, you're spending your time and your energy appropriately per your budget. So, depends on what you're working with. Wesley is wanting to know what makes a good album cover, and at what point do you start working on the artwork? Album artwork. That's a good question, because sometimes album artwork, the image of an album cover can even inspire the record itself sometimes. If you get an image in your head and all of a sudden you can just see the whole album and its completion. But usually once you get sort of into the rough mix phase of a record, you kind of get a sense of the tone and the theme and the vibe and what are some of the common threads that are flowing through it, and see if those can inform your decision as to what kind of image you want on the album cover, which is sort of where I'm at right now. Actually, we just finished all the principal recording of the songs, and we're listening to it, and we're kind of getting a sense of maybe what photographer we want to use, or maybe get someone like a mixed media artist or a painter or someone to listen to the music, spend some time with it, and come up with an image that fits. So, that's one of the more exciting, enjoyable, creative pieces of the puzzle. Sybil Saunders from Toronto wants to know, how do you decide which musicians you'll ask to be in the recording process? Yeah, musicians are cool. You always want to, I always like to have friends on the record if I can. I'm blessed to have a lot of really talented friends that play really well and made records on their own. Usually producers like to bring their own players in, people that they have like a shorthand with, that they know what they're capable of doing, and they know how long it will take and when to push them and when to back off, and usually it's a good thing for an artist to defer to the producer when it comes to picking players, and a lot of times truth be told, like even bands like that you think of as bands, when they go in the studio, sometimes producers, they don't need the band. They need the lead singer maybe of the band, and then they can kind of do a lot of it themselves, or they're bringing other musicians to play stuff because they know what they're capable of doing and what they want to get out of them. It's not all fun and games in the studio.
His debut single, Bosses and Bills.
I need a record contract so I don't make any money.
Talisa is curious, what part of the cycle do you most enjoy, and what part stresses you out the most? Yeah, I gotta say, probably the most exciting piece of the album cycle is is realizing like you're gonna do it, like deciding to do it, deciding like, okay, I'm ready to do this. All right, let's go camping. Let's go, let's go ride that roller coaster. I'm ready to do this. That's an exciting step. I also like day one in the studio. That's always an exciting day when you go in and everything's fresh and everybody's ready to tackle this thing and see how much we can accomplish before getting bogged down with indecision and indifference. Who says I'm stressed? I'm not stressed. Are you stressed? I'm not stressed. Why do you think I'm stressed? I suppose the only thing that's really stressful about it is getting down to the wire. If there's any deadline involved or trying to decide the best approach to releasing and getting the dates right and dealing with the fact that, if you don't get it out by a certain time of the year, you don't want to put it out in the fourth quarter before the holidays, and then you got to wait till the new year to put it out. That stuff is just like, it doesn't add up on the creative side. It supposedly makes sense on the business front, and artists don't deal well with that stuff. So not that it's not stressful, it's just not enjoyable. Joni Gronwer was curious. She's got 3 questions, basically. Do you look for some sort of commonality/theme when choosing which songs to include on a record? Yeah, having a theme is a cool thing. I've always wanted to make. I'm a big fan of concept records. Like something that the start and finish, you have this whole theme that each song speaks to some degree. But realistically, I think a lot of my favorite records, the songs had different things going on throughout, and I start looking at records more like really great playlists, of different moods and different, like a good mixtape, a lot of ups and downs, and then ultimately your caliber of song and your voice and how you're singing and what you're singing, and then the musicians and things that you're bringing to the table, it all has a common sound and it's at a common caliber. And you're not bringing in some sort of like digital synth thing and then putting that up against some like Americana acoustic guitar thing. So you try to keep it consistent to some degree, but song-wise, you may have a breakup song followed by a love song followed by a feel-good, anthem. You never really can tell what's going to make a great record. How do you decide whether to create an EP or a full-length record? Good question. And making an EP is good for not getting bogged down, not taking too long, making a quick statement, finding 4 or 5 songs that do all kind of speak to a statement that you're trying to make. You got a handful of really solid things that you want to get out there. You just want to put it out and get it out there and promote and market yourself and get something out to your fans. But an album is a little more like, okay, well, I do have more than enough songs to kind of do at least 8 or 9 songs, if not 10 or 12. When you make that call, you realize you're going to afford yourself a little more time to make that statement, and you want to kind of market it a little differently and take your time with, you're releasing singles, making a video maybe. And it all just kind of comes down to how prolific, I guess, you're feeling or how much you feel you got to say. And how do you keep your voice healthy while spending so much time in the studio? You do want to keep an eye on your vocal health when you're in the studio because, the hours can get long, sleep can get minimalized, and you want to make sure you're eating and staying hydrated properly. You're not singing too much at any given stretch. You want to spread out your vocal sessions. On this last record, we did a couple days of hardcore vocal recording, and then took a couple days off. Came back, did some background vocals when my voice was a little more rested and capable of more range. You just want to keep an eye on it and make sure you're not burning out.
Totally, man. Like you're shitting green,